Why, hello. I am Tierra Reed, the owner of Inspire, Engage, and Educate. And tonight we have another on Wednesday. We wear pink. I am wearing pink. And I'm here with not only my fellow Alabama State alum, but also my sister in the fight, Quan. So tonight, you guys are going to hear her story. You are going to not only just hear that, but also what is she doing with what she's gone through within her journey of fighting breast cancer? How is she paying it forward? So we know that that is so important. When we go through things, sometimes it's not about us, but it's about what we can do to inspire the other person or to show them that they can make it through as well. So the reason why we have on Wednesday we wear pink, and I'm encouraging you all to wear your pink. And if you don't have on pink, it's okay, but we want to hear from you. On the ticker below, you can see where it says, please share your questions and your comments. We want to see it. Whether you are watching us on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, let us hear from you. And we want to make sure that we answer anything that you want to know. So, the reason why we have this show is to provide information about early detection, to also amplify the voices and the stories of those of us that have gone through breast cancer, and to also help others that may be suffering in silence. Because there are so many people who may have some concerns, but you may just be a little afraid to go to the doctor. Well, we're here to help you. We don't want you to live in silence, right? Because we
Right.
know the earlier
The
and
better.
the sooner that you contact someone, the better. Okay. So, without further ado, I do want to introduce Quan. Quan is not only a graduate of Alabama State, the Alabama State University, but she also is so busy in her community. She's a mom, a wife, and as soon as this happened to her, she didn't wait because she actually is still going through her journey right now. She didn't wait, not one moment. She decided that she was going to impact others. How could she help someone else? So, Quan, please share your story with us.
You ready? Hi, I'm Quan, founder of Girl Let Me Tell You Foundation. What is this? 21. So y'all have to excuse my chemo brain because it's real. So last year this time, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was at stage 1. It all started, it was actually kind of surreal for me because I had a lot of fibroids anyway, but I was always told that fibroids don't turn cancerous. So for me, that's something that's more dear. So I don't want women, especially women of color, because we have those a lot. A lot of us have fibroids a lot. So we're under a false impression like, oh, it can't be, it's no way that I can get breast cancer. And that's not true. I do not carry the gene. I'm first generation in my family. I was only 41 when I was diagnosed. I'm what they call HER2 positive, which means that mine is very aggressive. It feeds off estrogen. And I just want women to be more aware of it. If you do have fibroids, going to the doctor, getting the mammograms is huge. If you have, and once you get your mammogram, ask, what kind of breast tissue do I have? If it is it very dense? Because if you have very dense breasts, then the chances of you getting breast cancer is very likely as well. Sometimes it's not if, it's just when. So for myself, a double mastectomy was nothing that I had to do, but it was something that I chose. I rather just to be done with it. My medical team was fantastic. So I had a bilateral double mastectomy with immediate reconstruction this time last year. So like I'm a year in now. And it's so many, like medicine has advanced so far. So I tell people sometimes I forget I even had a double mastectomy until someone and I'm like, oh yeah, I did. So in so many different ways. I did mine, which was nipple sparing, which means that I was cut underneath, under the crease, just like a woman would do regular breast augmentation. So therefore, I still had the implants done, and then I did what was called fat grafting, which means that I had lipo taken out of my abdomen, put on top, and the fat was put on top of my implants to contour the implants to make them look more natural, if that's what you would say. And then from there, I was to do a year of chemotherapy and hormone therapy as well. So I don't look like it today because after you're on chemo for a while, this time last year, I didn't have no hair. So that is huge. No eyebrows. What's crazy is I still don't have my eyebrows now, but my eyebrows are tattooed on. So most people would wonder, like, well, she don't really look at, but your hair, everything starts to come back. I didn't have no eyelashes. It's all so real. I had my days, my sick days, my happy days, the days that you don't want to do nothing, the days that you feel like it takes a lot out of you, but going into the fight is where that determines how you're going to do. And I think that once you set in your brain that, oh, I can get this done, or it's not going to be as bad, you're going to have your days, but you'll get through it. More and more women are living longer after they've been diagnosed with breast cancer. I've met so many women within this year that was like, oh, I had it 12 years ago. I had it 20 years ago. And some women will be like, well, you're lucky because when I didn't even have that choice, it's so many, you have to be your own self advocate for yourself. Like, oh, I didn't even know that you could do fat grafting, or I didn't know that you could do that. So my thing is get the test. So I was, when I tell you I was so lucky because I was not doing self exams. I'm going to be honest, I was not. It was the doctor that actually found it. And she was just more like, does that hurt? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, it's probably just another fibroid. And that's not what it was. So I just want more women to get the mammograms, do the self exams. When you go get your annual at the OBGYN, that's a part of the annual is a breast examination. So just go advocate. More and more women, especially women of color, are not, we're dying of breast cancer at a higher rate because we wait so long to go, or we're afraid. It's so many, especially with social media, it's so many support groups out there, and we're getting diagnosed younger and younger. It's not, oh, like actually, when you look at a woman and she's 40 and she's diagnosed, that's actually kind of much older. It's women that's 18, 22 that's getting diagnosed. So that's my thing. Just bring more awareness. Don't be afraid because you don't have health insurance or I can't go to the doctor. It is so many programs out there for women that will help you get away. It's just that you have to be willing to do the first step, and that is going to the doctor.
Thank you, Quan. So you mentioned so many great points. So one of the things that's lingering, right, is when you mentioned what you mentioned about African American women and the thought that the earlier you get a handle on what's going on with you, even if you have a moment where you say, "Oh, this doesn't feel right," or "This lump wasn't there," if you do have fibroids, to go get it checked out. So when you talk about the youth, I was diagnosed at 35 years old. We can't get mammograms according to our insurance until we're 40. That is a huge issue. So self-examination is one of the best measures that we have that you control. You control how many times you actually do the test, and I will add it in the comments as well, the proper way to give yourself an examination. So, one of the things that I wanted to ask, you are a mom. So, with your family, I know, as a mom, as a wife, you're running everything, right? You're and you know your child is in so many different programs or sports, or so how did you handle that? Who supported you along your journey, or who's supporting you now? Because you will be ringing the bell soon, and I can't wait, look, to hear it or to see the pictures. But yeah, tell us a little bit about maybe even how did you share this news with your family or with your children, or who helped you?
So for myself, when I got the call, I screamed because when a doctor call you, usually they're not calling you to say hi, something is wrong. So my husband actually thought that someone died or something. So it was because I just felt like, I was the person, I work out, it don't run in my family. It's just something that you just don't think of. Usually it's like, oh, they're running their family, that's why they have that. Or I'm like, not that I was the best eater, but it was like, no, like I kind of like workout, so when I got the call, I was just devastated because a year prior, my husband's cousin had just died of breast cancer. So I was already going back and forth to the doctor for fibroids. So now I'm like, is this I'm picturing myself in her situation, and she's, God rest her soul, gone to glory. But I'm like, is this what's about to happen to me? So I'm like, I don't want to do chemo. I don't want to do that. My husband's like, you're going to do chemo. Like, this medicine was put here for a reason. And you're gonna be fine. So I asked my husband, I remember this like yesterday, we were driving and I said, is this gonna be too much for you? Like, because if this is gonna be too much and I have to worry about you going out here doing all of this stuff for you with this woman or that woman, we should just break up right now. And he was like, what? And I was like, because this is difficult. Remind you, I had a close friend that passed away from breast cancer. But once again, she was one of those ones that had a lump. She knew she had a lump, but it was fear. I don't have no health insurance. So when she found out, it was too late. It was way beyond the stages that they just tried to make her comfortable, or as you would say, give you some more time here. But it was way too late. If she would have went when she may have still been here with us. You see what I'm saying? So I thought about all of those. My husband was my biggest supporter. I'm talking about, it would be days. I would just have, for me, it was one of those, they can't see you down. You see what I'm saying? So it was more like I ran the show. Like, regardless how I felt, I could be crying, but no one would ever know. I would wait till everybody was asleep, or if I was home by myself, or while I was in the shower was my time to be like, because I was just so mad. Like, why me? Like, God, like, for real? Like, you really gonna, like, what did I do? So, and my husband was like, it's gonna be okay. I was like, if I knew that I was gonna do this, I would have been partying, drinking, I would have been living it up. Like, I don't even do all of that stuff. I'm just living, me, a wholesome life. So that's how I felt. And God was like, why not you? Like, you're gonna go out because, and he put in my spirit, people will look at you and would never know that it was that you was going through this. Like, you not about to look like what you see on TV, and you ain't gonna even look like that. And so, like I said, my mother, my close friends, my children, during this journey, my children, they actually, I want to say like 6 months ago, they found me like almost gone, dead, done. I was bleeding internally and didn't even know. I had went to chemo that day. I was up, and then for some reason, I laid down. I woke up and I screamed. I was calling for them, and it wasn't late. It was like 9, 10 o'clock. And then I just passed out. And my oldest daughter, she's like, what is that noise? And that's when they found me. I had been bleeding inside for days and didn't even know. And so by the time they got me to the hospital, I had to have 3 blood transfusions. Once again, God was like, I got you. Like, it's not over. Like, you have it. And at that point, that's when I knew that it was bigger than me. And it was for me to tell my story. My children, outside of me having something like that, I never ever let them see me down. I still tried to participate. I would say that I was tired, but I still tried to do as much as I could with them. When I didn't have no hair, I tell most women that's going through the journey, do what's do you. If you a scarf person, go buy you all the scarves that's gonna work. If you a wig person, go buy you all the wigs. I was a hat person, so I went and bought every hat, every color. I put them on. Had my little earrings. See, I got so many. I'm still buying earrings now because I don't know what's gonna happen with my hair from day to tomorrow. And I just try to make myself look as normal as possible. So therefore, you know what I'm saying? I would still, if they wanted to do something or go out, I would still go. But if I was tired, then I was tired. You know, like I would be like, well, I'm going to bed. So that became our normal. That time is when my husband and I became the closest. Um, and that's when I was like, okay, because I was just like, God, I just don't know where this was going. But when I knew, most people, when you get married, you rambling off all of this stuff, you know, for better or worse, rich or poor, sickness. You saying all of this stuff until it really go down. So, and that's when my husband realized, like, all right, I gotta wipe her butt. Lord knows, because at first he's like, you done came on your cycle, you're gonna have to call your mama for that. So, and it was to the point he had to give me a shower. When I had the mastectomy, I couldn't even lift my arms. So the first, when you go to the surgery, they tell you not to put on no deodorant. Now the next, you in there for 2 days, you ain't had no shower because you can't lift your arms. Could you imagine what this smells like after like almost a week? But he was my, you know, he was there. Like my mom and my friends came over, or people would be like, I want to do this, I want to do that. He ain't let nobody do nothing. Like my mother was there, but I think that she was just there. Like he slept on the couch. It was like sort of kind of like when you have a little baby. The minute I would make a noise, he was up, just like how the mama would be. I had drains. He was taking the drains, measuring the fluid, and giving me the medicine. And I'd be like, well, I need more. And he like, no, it's not time. And he will massage me when I had to get in the shower. And to shower, he would get in the shower with me and, you know, shower me. And then like, okay, dry me down, put lotion. My oldest daughter, she's 18 now, so she was 17. She did cooking. My husband's a cooker too, but she would cook. My family would come get my youngest daughter and, you know, take her to go do stuff, let her play with other kids. So, excuse me, my friends, they would come over. They actually called me, Lord knows, they called me so much. My one friend was like, I heard you could slip into a depression. So she called me every morning. I'm like, baby, ain't nothing wrong with me. Don't call me today. But my coworkers was good. My business stayed afloat. Like my clients was even more like, well, I mean, I just had so much support. Like I just can't thank God. Like I don't even know people, and I would see people and they'll be like, well, I was praying for you. Well, I'm like, well, thank you, because it worked. Like people I didn't even know. They was like, well, I seen your story. You know, I follow you. And I was just praying for you because I just, like, I didn't even know you. Somebody else shared it. And I was like, well, I appreciate all the prayers. So I can't just say it was just one. My immediate circle, I know it was there, but it was more like, for me, like a community of just an outpouring reach. People, some of my clients, some of my friends was having people from their churches call me. One lady I didn't even know, she called me and was like, well, sister so-and-so told me to call you because you was her daughter friend. And I'm like, Lord. So, and it was just like, if you need anything, I'm a part of Key, which is a military sorority. So they were awesome. It was just more, and it was just, I can't even, I mean, I just get overwhelmed when I think about it. More and more people were just, even from the schools, the just everyone in general. Like I didn't have an issue. Even I can't even like my medical team was even important. They were even there. My breast surgeon, my family doctor, my plastic surgeon, all of them. My plastic surgeon, him and I built a very patient relationship. It was to the point to where I went and found him on social media, girl. I was in the man's inbox. I was in his DM. Like, is this right? So it was, yes. But he was very supportive, very open, and would tell me like, no, you would be okay. And then even though the construction is over, he still would check on me. Still the surgeon still checked on me. So, you know, um, support was everywhere, and you'll be amazed of the support that you will get from people. So that's why I don't want people to be afraid. I mean, you kind of think of it like, but you get a lot of support. You do.
So, as you were talking, I just thought about the pandemic, and you currently, right now, are still going through your treatments. How did the pandemic affect your treatments or the approach to fighting?
Actually, I tell people, as bad as COVID was, COVID actually saved my life. And when I say that, because we've lost a lot of people during this time, during this pandemic. But if I would have went to the doc, if it was COVID didn't happen, I would have went to my normal, just my regular follow up with the doctor, and I wouldn't have known because it wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have found out until, and who knows, it probably would have been later. Because at that point, I think they were following me every year. So I probably wouldn't have found out till actually it would have been this year. And it could have been stage 3, 4, who knows where it would have been at that point. So the only thing that affected with COVID was couldn't nobody go to couldn't nobody go to chemo with me. But while I was in the hospital, my husband was able to come. He stayed up there with me. All of those type of things, everything was still the same. It was just that when I went to get my chemo treatments, no one was allowed to go. But I had social media. I had all my Facebook friends and family. So that's how I came up. That was more how Girl, Let Me Tell You launched, because people would say, I thought you was going through chemo. And I'm like, I am. And they'll be like, well, I would get all type of questions like, well, do y'all still have sex? Or how do they feel? Or how do they look? And so that's when it's like, girl, let me tell you this. And so that was more of the behind it. It's not, I tell people it's life after cancer. It's life after reconstruction. After you have a double mastectomy, nothing changes. Breast cancer is not the end all. Everything below the waist is still going to work. It's not going to affect you. Men don't look at you any different. So, most women will be like, well, am I going to find? Yes, you're going to find a man. They're just trying to just get to the good stuff. Yes. It's all type of ways. Even if you didn't get to keep your nipples, it's tattoos now, that 3D. I was looking at some women's chest like, well, gosh, they look nice. I wouldn't have never known. Or get you a nice little tattoo or whatever. So it's life after that. And that was, that was another of how, Girl, Let Me Tell You, it was birth. I wanted women to know, like, you're not going through it alone. It's thousands of women that's diagnosed every day, and they're finding out. Some women, I look at women now that's like, I was just diagnosed 2 weeks, or I'm just now going through mine. And I'm like, well, if you want me to send you some pictures, hey, as long as you don't get me for sexting, but I'll show you that's what these look like. So, and they're like, oh my God, they look so good. It's life afterwards. So you just gotta sort of trust the process, do what you have to do, go through the treatments. Most people tell me like, no, I want to go herbal, and I'm not against none of that, but let's do what we can to keep you here now. And then after you go through the treatment, now we can start a holistic approach. That's how I look at it. But we need to deal with the monster right now and get it over with. And that's my say so.
Well, Quan, one of the things that you talked about is your foundation. Could you share a little bit about what your foundation does for women who may be going through anything right now?
So what we do is we're fully donations, and we reach out to women in any ways that they may need anything. When you're going through breast cancer, everyone doesn't always have a situation to where they will take off, they can take off work, or if they are off work, they're not getting paid, or they're worried about how are the kids going to get some food. Or so what we try to do is send them a care package if possible, what they may need. As far as most women will say, what do I need? I'm having a double mastectomy, and it's stuff that you probably wouldn't even think like, who's gonna hold those drains? Because they hurting when they come outside. So we give them care packages. If we have to, and the funds are there, which is in the budget, we'll pay a bill for them. Sometimes it's like, if I have 2 months paid, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe we'll pay the light bill, or we'll do a meal train. So if it's a single mom, and I had one lady, she was out of California, and we did a meal train for her. So we did it for a week, and what it did was it dropped food off every day for a week. That helped her so she can focus on, because she had no one else. It was just her. She would go to treatments. She would come home like she had a sitter, but it was more like how my kids are going to eat. Another lady we had in Florida, we just paid the rent for the month, and that was huge for her. So it just depends on where the funds are and what's needed. And if they want a care package, we'll send them a care package. We'll also look for local things in their area. If they have questions about a surgeon, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a plastic surgeon or anything. I can only tell what my experience was like and the questions that I asked before going.
Wow. So first of all, I just want to thank you for your time. And I know it's getting late. You gotta get your baby together. But guys, if you have a question, or even when you watch this, if you're not on here now, please, please, please comment below your question, because we want to help everyone. And Quan, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, just check your boobies. They can save your life. It's very encouraging. I just remember when you were saying that, you have to be 40 to get a mammogram. So, and I can only reinforce for us women, because we have so much going on. We taking care of the kids, mama, the husband, the boo, grandmama, everybody call us. Women is like problem solvers, and we don't even realize it. Like, they should just give us that name, problem solvers. That should be the, how you doing a outline, and you got one, and then you got the big problem solvers is what should go right there, because that's what we are. Like, they always look to us to fix it. It don't even matter. Baby, I can't find my keys. What you mean? They right here. What are you doing? So go to the doctor. We don't want it to just be in October. October, everyone's celebrating, and I love it. Everyone wearing their pink, and you see pink everywhere, pink shirts, pink bows. You can't go outside. Everybody got on pink, from the football players, the NBA, everybody wear pink. And then come November, that's it. And so it's like everybody forget. Go make your annual once a month. Once a year. You go this year. When you leave, tell them, put me on the schedule for next year this time, so I know. Because part of your OBGYN annual is a breast exam. So therefore, if she feels something, he or she feels something different, they can instantly say, go get this checked out. So that way we won't find out we know we're not doing those self exams, but we have to start somewhere. And an annual is a regular annual checkup. So that's what I want women to do, is start getting better for health. And just take some time out. We take time out for everything else, to get our hair done, to get our nails done. We have a girls day, we have a spa day. But did you go? No, we have to. It's just little stuff like that. It's and because more and more women are being diagnosed at a high rate, and it's sad. And a lot of us are falling. We're looking at it to where we're just like, well, no, the doctors don't care, or it's not that. If you have it, they didn't. That doctor or that nurse didn't put it there. And honestly, it was just in the cards. And so God is using you to tell your story to help somebody else.
Wow. I I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Even when you mention the fact that we have an annual, right? You guys are supposed to have your annual. And with my story, what makes it so interesting is that September, I went had an annual. The physician did the exam, and for some reason felt nothing. And by the time what it was December 1st, I literally just did this and felt something so large that felt as if it was an egg. So just thinking about how that, if I would have not gone and, continued to check myself and then follow up, I'm sure this would be a different conversation, and possibly not with me. So I just want you guys to know that it is so powerful. It's so powerful to be able to go out and check. Just make sure that you're following up. Do not suffer in silence. And I can't repeat that more. Do not suffer in silence. And also make sure that you're checking on your friends. Remind them, if you've already scheduled your annual, remind all your friends. I always say start with 5. If you remind 5 people and then they remind 5 people, you'll have a whole lot of women and men, remember, because this also affects you as well. Well, thank you guys. That's all I have tonight. Join us next week. We will be having our last on Wednesday. We wear pink, and it will be another great story with Kanesia. But thank you so much, Quan. And if you want to support Quan and girl, let me tell you, Foundation, please, please, please make sure you comment below and or either DM Quan. She will help you. All right. Have a nice night. Oh, I'm not great by mistake, and neither are you. Have a nice night, guys.